Why did I stay with my shitty ex? Am I in a toxic relationship? How am I going to move on and find love? We're your hosts, Izzy
and Meredith,
and welcome to ExFacts, Relationships and Breakups. Relationships are confusing. When they end, we're left picking up the pieces and wondering what went wrong. So, each episode on ExFacts, we'll hear stories from real people sharing their experiences in relationships. We'll also hear from experts to help us uncover the deeper meaning behind our actions and emotions. At the end of every episode, we'll answer a listener's question. No topic is off limits, so ask us anything you want to know. From conflict and healing to dating and love, ExFacts will take you on a mind-blowing journey to explore all aspects of our amazing, imperfect, frustrating relationships. Hi everyone, welcome to ExFacts Relationships and Breakups. We're your hosts, Meredith and Izzy, and today's episode we don't have a guest because we wanted to do an us,
just the two of us.
Exactly. So Meredith actually has some news to share. So Meredith, do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, so recent twist. I know I've been spouting about how amicable my divorce has been and how lovely and angelic my ex is, et cetera, et cetera. Well, let me preface this by saying my situation, my last job was 5 years ago. I worked for Cigna in the corporate professional realm, whatever. And my husband and I decided to build a new construction house. So I left that job to kind of oversee that process. And then the idea was to have kids and I would be a stay-at-home mom. So I've been out of the workforce for 5 years and he has been footing all the bills. Also, he has deep family money, to the point where generationally forward, his kids aren't going to have to worry about anything, whatever. So we've been doing that this whole time. And since we decided to get divorced, he's still been paying the bills, which is nice. And it hasn't come up. We haven't talked about it. I assumed we would either talk about it or I would just transition after the settlement and after the divorce became official into doing my own thing, blah, blah, blah. However, I come home last night after hosting trivia and it was, I don't know, 9:30. And he's like, so you're not going to like this, but basically including this month's credit card bill and everything moving forward, anything that I need to pay for is coming out of your divorce settlement. And I don't even want to pay the full balance of your bill this month. I'll cover the minimum and then you have to pay the interest. And I was like, what?
Yeah, no, I mean, I just feel like, and I've told you this before, Meredith, I feel like this is so messed up because, especially the current month's credit card bill, because it's if you knew that, maybe
I would have done things differently.
Exactly. So give some heads up, you know what I mean?
That's my whole thing. Yeah. I mean, should I be paying my own bills? Sure. If I need to do that right now, again, that's fair and that's fine. But give me a minute to get a job, especially because I've been out of the workforce and I'm generally unemployable. Let me know. So yeah, that was kind of jarring. Aside from the I guess I need to immediately get a job, which is fine. But I think the hardest part is when you're so close to someone for that long and they're you're everything, your person, you want to be buried with that. We literally used to joke about how we wanted to be buried together spooning. Wow. And they're your everything. And then all of a sudden they just flip on you so callously, your adversaries, and none of that was ever a thing. I think that's what's hard for me. And I told him too, in my position, if the roles were reversed and I had it's not he has all that money right now, but he's going to inherit enough money to never have to think about money ever again in his life. If I had that situation with my love and affection for him, I would just be hey, take your time, figure it out. I mean, it's obviously it's not going to last forever. No one wants to be taken advantage of, but get your shit together. Here's what I think. Let's collaborate, whatever, in a agreeable, communicative way. And the fact that that was just sort of sprung on me is like heartbreaking, because it's like I would never do that, but also I never would have thought that like
He would
he
do
would
that.
do that.
Yeah. What do you think made him like decide like now to do that? You know what I mean?
So to his credit and discredit, his family has like a grand scheme of like lawyers, financial advisors, like et cetera, et cetera. And I think he requested money from his trust in order to help pay this month's bills. And it's only astronomical this month because I had to re-up my like deposit with my divorce attorney. So that's like $5,000 by itself, which I don't have. Like, I don't have any money. But
Yeah.
it's not a great quality, but it's a fact. Like, I just don't have any money.
Yeah.
So I think when he requested from the trust guy more money, I don't know like what the conversation was, but I assume once it became clear that it was for me, everyone got all up in arms, and like the finance guy and the lawyer was like, you absolutely should not be paying this, and she needs to figure it out, and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Which again, like, is probably fair, but like, we should have had this conversation a while ago to put me in the best position to move forward with that.
Yeah.
And I think like
lay out what you expect.
Right.
And then like
don't just spring it on me at 9:30 at night one day. And I don't think it's coming from him. I think it's coming from like that team of people. But the fact that like if it were me, I would be like, I hear what you're saying and that's smart, but like let's just like give her a minute. Like let me tell her what's up. We'll see how she, and then like if I was ridiculous after that, cut me off. Sure, that's fine. That's fair. But like, I would fight for being a little more understanding and caring, given again that like money is not going to be an object for him ever.
Yeah. And like, just be like, hey, so, got this bill, big, but maybe, in the future, this is what we should do for a plan, a graduated plan going forward. Because, there has to be like an off ramp. You can't just like walk off a cliff,
Right.
Especially when you've been like taking care of shit, around here.
Yeah. I don't know about that. I've never been a great homemaker. That's partially why I'm getting divorced. But I have been like, hosting trivia, and I've been working for my friend who owns a construction company. It's not like I've been like eating bonbons all day. Like I've been doing stuff hoping it'll turn into something because I thought I had time to do that. If I knew I didn't, I would have just gotten a high paying job and done that and focused on that.
Yeah, exactly. So what was his demeanor like? Because I know you've talked about how in the past that he's kind of conflict averse.
Yeah.
What was he like in that conversation?
So I could tell shit was going to go down because we were texting. I forget about what, but I hadn't seen him in a couple days, and I was like, hey, if you want to come to my trivia game, like it's at this really cute place, and I don't know if you're around, I haven't seen you, which I was like trying to be cute, and he like didn't even address that and was like, yeah, well, we need to talk about your bills. Maybe we could do that tomorrow. And I was like, this is not gonna be a good look for me, I feel. So yeah, I made a point of like coming home last night and being like, all right, what's this shit about the bills? And he was just like terrified, like a deer in headlights. Which like I kind of feel bad about, but also like, you're doing this, man up. If you're gonna do it, you're in charge. You're in the driver's seat. But he just looked like pained and was like, you're not gonna like this. And then he was like, blaming it on the other people, which again, I'm sure it was their idea, but you're executing it. So I was kind of like, okay, well, that sucks. Would have been nice to have a heads up, would have been working on a full-time job. And then I asked, because his lawyer told him not even to pay the full balance of my credit card this month, just to do the minimum and then have me fucking worry about all the interest I accrued. And I was like, can you just pay the whole thing and take it out of my settlement? Like, I don't want to get more problems than I already have. Like, I don't need my credit score to get even more in the shitter. Like, can you please just pay it? I'll sign something saying like, take this out of my settlement, but like for the time being, let me not get into like
debt.
Yeah. So we kind of ended there, but
and what did he say to that?
Yeah, he agreed. I think he knows how fucked up it is.
Yeah.
Otherwise he wouldn't have, I mean, he looked like pained.
Yeah.
Which is kind of nice, but also like do something
about
it.
Just man up, you know?
Yeah. So my point though was, I was like, if the situation was reversed and I had the family inheritance coming to me that he does, and I never had to worry about money, and my children never had to worry about money, I would have given him like a minute to get his shit together.
Yeah.
You know, like I would have been like, here's the thing, like you can't, you know, you're not gonna like live off of me anymore, which is fine, but like here's the plan, here's what I need you to like, that kind of collaborative effort, not just like you're fucked.
Yeah. It seems like he's always trying to be like the nice guy, and then it's just like
fucks me over.
Yeah, and then it's just like all of a sudden he's like, okay, well, I can't. You know, people are telling him you can't do this anymore, so he's like goes from black to white. Okay? Not letting him see, you know.
And like I was saying, that's like a familial trait that I've noticed in his family. I think they have a really hard time communicating, and they're very conflict averse, and so they let situations that are bothering them get out of hand until it's like boiling over for them, and then they sort of just like pull the rug out from under people who are unsuspecting and have no idea that there's even like an issue to begin with.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at. If anyone wants to give me a job,
hiring. Yeah, no, it's just so crazy to go through all that. I mean, divorces, I know, are so like up and down, you know, roller coaster kind of thing.
And like, I'm not a dum-dum. Like, obviously there are a lot worse situations. People get really nasty. Like, overarchingly, this is not that bad, and I get that. But just like for me and for how sacred our relationship was in my mind, like this is a big deal for me. Like, I understand it could be worse, whatever, but like emotionally, not a good moment for me. Especially because I think like I've been pretty cool about the divorce this whole time. Like I built the, I mean, not physically, but like I designed this house with like blood, sweat, and tears for 2.5 years, and I can't afford to keep it. And he wants to keep it, and that's fine. It's heartbreaking, but I feel like I've been trying to handle it like an adult.
Yeah.
And then like we have 2 sister cats, and it was never even a question that he would keep them, because he's like a better mom than I will ever be, and they love him and whatever. But like I never even would have contested that or tried to like get something in return. I was just like, obviously you're gonna keep them, I'll come visit. So I feel like I'm trying to be like accommodating, understanding, and then once like these vicious fucking bloodsuckers get involved, it's like, no, fuck her. Like, let's ruin her life a little bit. She deserves it. She's a woman. So
messed up. I feel like when there's money, shit gets really complicated.
I know, but I've never been that way. Not that I've ever like had money, but even like while he and I were together and I had the freedom to be generous, like that's how I am. Like, not that, you know, anyone should be obligated to be that way. But like, if you have it and it's not an issue, like, why not
just give, help out other people? And I mean, I feel like his family is just like that from what you said before.
And I think it has a lot to do with his parents didn't grow up wealthy. Like his dad is self-made, and he, you know, skyrocketed corporately, and everything they have is because of him. And Carl's mom, his dad's ex-wife, you know, inherited, when they got divorced, she inherited her stuff, but like neither of them has to worry about anything. But I think they're so ingrained with the mindset of like protecting their stuff, that that's just their natural reaction to things. And like, it's kind of understandable, but it just like, it's really hard when you think you're like a part of the family and loved and cared for by people, and then just like overnight it's like that never even existed. Like even my birthday was like a couple months ago, and when we first announced we were like getting to, but we had like calls with the family, all that stuff, and his family was like, yeah, we're always gonna be family, like we love you, come around anytime, blah blah blah. On my birthday, no one from his family, no one, like not mom, stepmom, dad, brother's wife, texted me even. Like, I don't need a card, I don't need a gift, I don't need a parade, but like no one even shot me a text and was like, happy birthday. So I thought that was pretty telling, and it made my heart very, very sad.
Yeah, it's just so fake, to say one thing and then just be like, oh.
But I just, even if it is fake, I don't know how you could treat people like that. Like, even if I didn't like, say my brother got divorced from his wife, like if I didn't like her, I would still not be a dick to her.
Exactly.
Right? Like, you were part of our family and we loved you. Just because you're going your separate ways doesn't mean that that should change.
Exactly.
I don't know. That's just my 2 cents.
I totally agree. I mean, I feel like there's a good way to handle conflict in relationships and there's a bad way to handle conflict in relationships. I think on the one hand, you can be too conflict averse. Yeah. And that can kind of get in your own way because things bottle up and bottle up and bottle up.
Right. That's exactly what's
happening. And then you kind of lash out seemingly to the other person irrational acts. Yeah. That maybe to the person who's doing it seem like, oh, it's been coming. But for the, you got
on the receiving end, if you haven't been aware of that, it comes as a shock.
And then it creates irrational, like unpredictable responses as well. Yeah. Because if you're used to interacting with someone in one way and then they're just all of a sudden like change it up, and that's like inconsistency is really confusing to people.
Yeah, and that's the hardest part for me. Like aside from the financials, like I was saying, is just like to go from what we had to like what's happening now. Like my mind just can't. I don't know if that's like a unique quality for me and that's just how most people are or what, but like I would still operate as though we were married probably forever. I mean, within reason, right? Like I'm not going to support you, but like let's work this out together as partners. I want you to be successful. I want you to be successful. Like instead of just like immediate like adversarial vibes.
Yeah, and I think that it just it shows like when people act a certain way, when you're used to them acting the other way, then it like creates a lack of trust because then you think, okay, what are they going to do next? Because I remember you telling me, you asked him like, oh, do I have to move out now? Because it's like you would have never thought that, had it not been for like this coming out of the blue. Yeah,
but like, am I going to come home and all my shit's out on the front lawn? I don't know anymore.
Like, and that uncertainty like is a lot of anxiety. And it's just difficult, and then on the other hand of conflict and stuff, I mean, people can be way too over aggressive, which is also bad in relationships, but finding a happy middle ground while still staying true to yourself is like I think really important.
It's just really interesting to me, like his attitude throughout this whole process has been very surprising. Like we were going to couples therapy for a while, even like while we were going through the divorce process, just to like stay on the same page. Actually, we should probably fire up another session. But I said to him, like, obviously, during the course of conversation, we're going to be like best friends forever. Like our families are going to know each other. We'll see each other. Like, and his response at the time was like, yeah, maybe.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. And it just like things like that, or even like when we were talking about, like divvying up the furniture, I was like, first of all, I'm going to move from a huge house into a tiny apartment. I won't even be able to fit that much stuff physically in my space. Yeah. So I would hope that you would like let me have kind of whatever I wanted, especially because you could just immediately replace it and not even blink an eye. And he was like, yeah, well, I think that's something that like we'll discuss during the settlement. And
oh, really? Like, so that was like, this was before?
That was my first like, oh shit, this might get disappointing for me. So I just,
do you feel like you have enough visibility into like the settlement from his side? If he's always like, oh, let's wait for the settlement. Like, is it going to be like,
no, I just spelled out and like my lawyer had it spelled out for me. But so, you know this, but a big part of the settlement is the appraisal of our home because we own it jointly. So if he wants to keep the house, he has to buy me out 50-50. So his lawyer had the house appraised and it came in like jarringly low. Like everyone involved was like, that seems a little low. And like, I don't know if that was a tactic. I don't know if that was on purpose. Even he was like, just FYI, it came in low. It wasn't me. I didn't do that on purpose. I was like, I don't know anymore.
Yeah.
But so I hired an appraiser to reappraise it.
How did he react when you said that?
I mean, fine, but he didn't want to pay for that. He was like, my lawyer says I absolutely should not pay for that. And I'm like, again, I have no money, but sure, let's just start a Meredith IOU tab.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten the result back yet, but I have a strong feeling it's going to come in significantly higher than what is quoted. And now I'm like, did you do that? Did your lawyer do that? Were you aware that your lawyer was doing that? Are you fucking with me? What is happening? So yeah, I don't know. I don't think it'll get contentious, but it's so sick how much like money just creates a divide between people who otherwise like love and respect each other.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's fucking sick.
Yeah. And that's so true. I mean, shit gets really, really complicated, and you know, relationships just like it's like a journey, you know. It's not always going to be like a good.
It's like a box of chocolate.
Exactly. Well, it's just you know. This from experience.
Yes.
No, even if you want it to be.
Yeah. Well, and I think, you know, he does too. I think he's just like being pulled in two different directions. And there's a lot of like fear and wanting to placate the family that goes into it, which like I understand. And that was always a point of like difference in our marriage, to be honest with you. Like, and to be fair, I didn't grow up the way he did with like this family figure being larger than life and like in control of everything. Like I didn't grow up like that, but if my parents ever pulled some shit on him, I immediately would have stepped in and been like, that is my person. You cannot do this. Stop. And he just has never been able to do that, which, you know, now is resurfacing, but that's always been something
like a big problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like it. Shit's crazy.
I know life. I hate it.
Well, so switching topics.
Let's change gears.
So instead of doing a question of the day, I was thinking we could, since this is maybe halfway through our season 1 of our podcast, potentially. We don't really have a set time limit, so maybe the third way you can put it away.
Who's to say?
But I think it might be a good idea to just reflect on like our, you know, favorite episodes. Episodes, not least.
This one guest was a real pill.
I think it would be a good idea for us to reflect back on, you know, our highlights from our last episodes and what we've learned and what we think has been like, you know, great about this experience because it's new to both of us. Especially me. So, I mean, it's easy to look back on the last one and be like, love that episode. But to me, I really love that episode with Tyler because, you know, we heard about his real story from his divorce. And, you know, to me, overarchingly throughout all these episodes, I've loved hearing about people's real stories. Because, you know, you hear about these, you can read an article, you can watch a movie, and it's like, you don't know if it's real, but like, you know these people, we know these people, they're like, you know, actually here.
And it doesn't serve them to like concoct a story that's not true. If anything, none of us should be saying any of the things we're saying. No, I agree with you. I think the guests that we know personally, that has been my favorite. Not that like the, you know, relationship experts, the gurus, they have so much like to teach and they're so interesting and they have such a unique perspective and point of view, but yeah, my favorite is just like getting down to the nitty gritty with people we know, like Alex and Tyler, and the fact that they were both so open and honest is like what made it so successful, or at least in my mind, but like willing to have a dialogue, not trying to hide anything. I mean, I get it, like you don't want to
people have different
ruin someone's reputation or whatever. We need to be respectful and kind. I hope I didn't overstep on my ex right now, but like also this is your life and it's interesting and people can probably benefit from hearing like what's going on with other people and their shit.
Exactly. And like I think I've also learned a lot from some of the relationship experts too, because you know, I remember the first episode we did, I was so nervous, but but I like learning about things that, you know, I'm so unfamiliar with, like meditation, because I know, you know,
we were supposed to do that. We did not.
That was one of those kind of New Year's resolutions that didn't happen yet, but we can always
there's always tomorrow.
So, you know, all these things that I feel like I've learned so much, and it's just been a great, you know, journey. And I'm excited to see where it goes next.
Oh my god, we should see a little tear. Yeah, let's keep it going.
For sure. Anyways, well, until next time, folks.
Yeah. Toodles.
Thank you so much for listening. You can catch a new episode of ExFacts next week. Hit that follow button so you don't miss out on any of the action. We want to hear from you, so leave us a comment or review. Until next time, bye.